Hello and welcome to the Impact Dynamics podcast.
I'm Andy Little.
And I'm Rusty.
We talk about rifles and PRS.
And Andy is trying to deprime for us right now. We're also talking about travelling interstate. Let's do this. Come on, Andy.
Yeah.
Get pumped.
Beer in a gin glass.
Match director, mate. Match director. Hello, Andy.
Hooray!
Hooray. Hope that's enough.
We need your vote.
Now we've caught up to where we are on the podcast.
All right, go on back.
Roll the outro.
Well,
all right, Andy, we're back into it. How are you, mate?
Good. No,
What are you doing? What is all that noise happening on over there?
I'm playing with a new little toy.
You certainly are. Well, speaking of which, Josh is not here. Speaking of toys.
Toy boy?
You do what you need to, man. You do what you need to. Unrelated to that, though,
Yes.
although related to Josh not being here, Remy, have you got a microphone? Have you? Josh probably didn't tell you to set up a microphone.
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Remy's joined us tonight. Remy is
Hello.
the much better looking Josh.
I am.
and very modest as well.
Agrees with it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Remy, thanks for pushing all the buttons tonight.
No worries.
And getting the job done while Josh is suffering from COVID at present. We wish him all the best and a speedy-ish recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he's working lots from home.
I mean, about as much as he works at work, so
Okay.
doesn't really change much. Anyway, that's where Josh is tonight. So, Remy, you're welcome to ask questions as we go along through because I know you're interested in shooting but relatively new to getting around it.
Easy,
so,
yeah.
see if anything makes sense to you. Andy, you've got a whole stack. Is this what you plan? Are you that bored during podcasts that you brought in 200 rounds to deprime?
Yes.
All right. Well, while
What else do we do when we're drinking away, talking about...
you're drinking beer from a gin glass?
Look, I know it's controversial, but, we've all made bad decisions in our life.
I started this podcast.
And I'm on it as well.
Yeah, okay, good example. Good example.
I got this new toy and I thought I'd give it a go while we're here. And
Okay.
just-
So this is a hand priming deprimer.
Yeah.
And you said you're having
Harvey.
some from where?
Harvey deprimer.
Oh, I thought you were quoting like Batman or something. Okay.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah. If you've got indents, you're not using it right now. You said it's actually, you said it was challenging to find the hole in this thing.
Yes.
No, all jokes aside.
Yes.
And you just nailed it like super quick. This is where that little pin goes in.
Yeah,
You've got
into
a
your flash
technique.
hole. I've found that the more I'm using it, I'm getting quicker.
Okay.
But, come on.
He's got performance anxiety right now. Everyone's watching him. Those
Got it.
who are listening are like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. And so what you're saying is tomorrow morning, this place is just going to have primers all over the floor.
I've caught at least 40% of them.
I feel super confident with
So
that
you'll
number.
be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't this sound good?
That sounds amazing. That's great. That's an entire YouTube channel you could set up to make that noise. Good. Now, you went shooting recently. Yeah, let's
did.
put your depriming stuff away. We'll do that another time.
Yeah, well, that's what all these rounds are from.
Okay.
So
Oh, right. So this is the link, the connection to
these are
shooting.
from the latest match, which we shall not discuss.
Okay. So speaking of which, how'd you go?
Well, pretty poorly.
Did your voice just break?
Pretty poorly.
Okay. So tell me about it and then tell me, like, with gladness, how badly you did. Look forward to it.
So, yeah, it was just the local half-day club match at Monado. And I guess it was just one of those days where not a whole lot just came together.
Okay.
I just rushed every stage, rushed shots,
Yep.
didn't get comfortable in positions. I just had an off day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them. And I got 6th place, which, typically
Out of 5?
Yeah. And then so typically at our club, I'm sort of up more the top end.
Uh-huh. Not to brag or anything.
Depends on who's shooting though.
Yeah, sure. Like if you're shooting, way down the bottom.
Way down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those off days. And I thought, I've just done everything wrong today. Just, yeah, they were the main points, just rushing and not getting stable in positions.
Well, the stage is good, like that you should have been fine on them. Yep.
Stages were all pretty good.
Yep.
A fair bit of movement. You've got the old rubber tires, so car tires, and they're unstable. And I was in some of those positions and just not taking the time to get steady. And then so I was just wobbling all over the place. And then I'm thinking of the clock, and then I'm just like, just send it. And then of course I miss.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I could go into blaming the wind. I mean, the wind was picking up and
Come
dropping
on.
down. It was
Let's move on from the wind.
we need a bullshit button. That's what we need.
Well, just any time you talk.
But yeah, so it was like a gusty sort of day,
Yep.
which was frustrating.
Okay.
But it was good to practice in and did poorly.
Okay.
There we
And
go.
so how, like, are you able to like stop partway through and sort of refocus, or did you just
I just kept hammering on for some reason.
So that was a half day match where you just flunked it and just went downhill.
Yeah.
If that was a PRS match, right, and that was your first, how many stages? 6 stages?
Yep.
So let's say you were 2 stages in and you were starting out, because there's a Monado PRS match coming up, and the same thing
There
could
is.
happen to you in the first 2. I mean, I'm wishing it does.
Doesn't.
All the best.
All the best.
The first 2 stages
Yep.
of the day, and that happens.
Mhm.
I know with a club match for you, you're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to kick back and enjoy and see how bad I can make it. Whereas for a PRS match, I know you're not that way inclined. So what changes? What do you do differently at a PRS match that will bring you back on deck where you could recover from a couple of stages?
Yeah, so if I have a few stages that I do poorly,
Yep.
I try and figure out, okay, what was it that made me do poorly? Was it time? Was I rushing? Was it the incorrect equipment? Was it, my data? Was it my wind call? Try and figure out what it was that was really failing for me. And then work on making that better for the next one, and then forget about the last stage.
Yep.
As in don't let, oh man, I wish I'd done this or should have done that, or, you sort of have to have that mental, put it aside, is what it is. Okay, this is what we're doing for this stage, and sort of move on. I find that with those bigger matches, when some people have a couple of bad stages and they find it hard to let go and move on from them,
they're still focused on that stage.
Yeah, they're still focused on, I should have done this, I should have done that, and then you see that the rest of the day they're still struggling.
Did you? Is that why you struggled at the club match? Did you not let go of stuff, or did you not care enough to refocus? You just being like sort of mentally lazy and just like, whatever, I don't care anymore type
Yeah,
thing?
I guess I was just there to sort of just have fun and just shoot the stages, not take it too seriously.
Or not at all seriously.
No,
by the
not at all.
sounds of things. Yeah, I mean, just like I'm curious as to what can you could you have gotten back on deck after a stage or 2 at the club match, and why didn't you?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you could apply all those same techniques at
That's
the club match.
Yeah.
Is it a matter of you don't want to take it too seriously because you really are just there to relax and enjoy yourself, versus PRS is, you've paid big money to be there, and you've maybe not traveling so much if it's local, but if it's interstate, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do feel like that last club match, it's the last match before Monado Meltdown.
So you should have done a lot better.
I should have done
Were
a
you
lot
trying
better.
to get it all out?
And maybe, possibly. And maybe in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, I need to do well here.
Was
And I
the
need
pressure?
to, maybe I'd put some pressure on myself to, I need to nail this and prepare and get ready for Meltdown. So that maybe
Maybe a fact.
I was just rushing and stuff, and because I had that in the back of my mind. I know one of the stages, I've been trying to use my timer more often,
Yes. Yep.
keep track of the time during a stage. And it was a great stage. It was a mix up on skill stage 2, so
Okay.
a tiebreaker stage. So it was a bit of a change to it. But we're going through and shooting the stage, and I was missing some and hitting some. And then I was like, I wonder how much time I got left. Look at my watch. Beep.
About that.
That much. Damn it.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
but that, it's all learning. It's crazy how quickly, what was that? I think that was 120 seconds as well. And that just went real quick for that stage.
Right. Okay. Very good. Well, hopefully you can pull things together a little bit better for the new one. Hey,
Me
we got a new bench, as
Yes.
so those who are watching can see, and we're finding, while we're doing this podcast, we're finding a few little things that are, you're making some unusual noises with your microphone, your headphone cable when you're playing with it.
Give me a second.
And we got a little bit of a wobble, but anyway, we're finding our way. Remy, do you like this bench? Does it look all right?
It looks sexy.
What about the
nice.
bench though?
Thank you.
No, you too.
Okay, good, thanks.
Pay rise now.
Sure. And so
You heard it. It's recorded.
Yeah. 1 cent's a pay rise, isn't it? And this is much smaller than the other one, so we're a little bit closer together. But the other one, the other bench is up there against the wall, blocking us from getting the gin.
Yep.
And probably for the better. And it is much bigger. This is much more workable. So
That's it.
and there's some nice lines on it. It looks very, very good. Yeah.
I reckon these lines would make it look longer in the video.
Is that what you do? Yeah. Okay.
You know, vertical lines make you look slim.
Do they? Hasn't worked for me. Need much more than lines. Good. Hey, WA's getting some shooting going on. I mean, the WA's been doing some shooting, but WA's getting some precision rifles sort of stuff kicking around, seeing more and more stuff come together, which is super exciting because it's always been a challenging one to get stuff kicking off there. So congratulations to multiple crews over there that are getting stuff up and running. And I haven't got particular details to share at this stage. I'm planning to get over there sometime this year.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully in a couple of months, be able to get over there for a bit of a look and a wander around.
Very good.
After it was been locked down for the last 3 years,
that's it.
I've had to go
now
through.
we can get over there.
Now we can go there and then probably get stuck. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to, for those who are listening, perhaps who are over there and sort of wishing something would kick off, well, there is. So either get in touch with us or look them up there. You can find some details. But I just wanted to do a little shout out to the WA guys who are up and running with various things, and there's multiple, which is super exciting. So hopefully in the next year or so, we might be able to bring a PRS match to town and
that'd be pretty
get
cool.
to know our Western brethren and sistren. Is that the word? I don't know. Get to know them again after many years of not seeing our friends from Perth. And
that's it. No, it's pretty cool. I've seen a few videos and photos and things pop up on the socials, and it's like, awesome. Like that side of Australia is sort of coming up and going to have a play with the big boys.
They're the big boys, aren't they? They're serious because they got all the distance to be able to shoot. Yeah, that's all right. And I have been on the other side of the country last week. I flew into Brisbane the day after I couldn't have flown in.
Oh, right.
I managed to land that one. The day I went in, they were only running one runway. And we're like sending flights to Coolangatta, which is Gold Coast, and sort of having to taxi people up and around. It was pretty serious. And then by the time I got on a plane, which was that night, I managed to fly straight into Brisbane. But it was full on up there for anyone who was affected by the floods. It was certainly filthy. I didn't. I was fortunate enough that where I was going was all okay, and I did see a bit of flood damage, like just sort of driving past and stuff. But I had a few meetings to go to and went to some cool places. Caught up with Luke from the Bearded Chap.
Oh, very good.
Which is rad. Kicked his ass for not making any TikToks, and he now makes more TikToks than I do in the last week.
Oh wow, really?
Yep. So that worked.
Yeah, I did see a hammer is pretty critical part of their process.
Hammer's very important when you're making beard oil.
Yep.
And I caught up with Adam at 3GT. Caught up with the guys from Vortex as well, and a few other.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of all the places I went. It was really busy. I wasn't there for very long, and it was flat out. So I apologise to anyone. I would have loved to catch up in Queensland, but it was meeting to the airport.
Yep.
So it was very brief, and then down to Sydney, and very much the same thing. It was back to back. Caught up with Trent, to talk PRS sort of stuff, which is exciting. Caught up with Ports from Porter Machine Works, and we drank some gin, to celebrate.
Nice.
Traveling
the next year,
to celebrate the last gin we had.
That's it.
Which was 10 minutes before. The important things in life. And so lots of meetings, lots of catch up with some people, and I think that was a very brief trip, but it was nice to be back traveling. I do enjoy seeing stuff, and I wish we could have done like an open pub night and just sort of had whomever down. They were always rad times doing that.
We'll get there.
We'll definitely get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll travel somewhere together.
That's it.
Maybe one day. Don't know. PRS match.
That's it. Yep. We'll see you there.
Sounds rad.
It's a big trip.
Well, it's coming up soon.
It
is coming out. How far out from we are? Well, less than a month.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow. I mean, you're right. Like, this weekend, the following weekend, and then it's 2. Yeah, it's 4 weekends away.
Yeah.
3 weeks away. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're about right. You're about right. So it just freaked me out because there's a lot to be done, just in general between now and then. The match, like Travis got the match in hand, pretty much ready to roll. But there's other things.
The background things.
Oh no, not even that. Not even like just in the lead up to stuff because the Mildura match will probably go up on sale next week. For the crew that want to jump on board with that, so. It's all happening. It's all starting to traveling around,
fantastic,
and doing these things, getting back into it.
Yep. Excited for that.
Excited? Are you shooting Mildura? Is that your plan?
Yes, very keen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Very good. Well, I've got we've got a couple of questions this week that have come in
Uh-oh.
from this one is from Instagram.
And it's all
So-
aspects. We will answer anything, all aspects.
Oh, anything. All right.
We'll try to
I'm
answer.
going to throw you a few other questions I got.
All right.
All right.
They might not be good
from
answers.
Dustin.
They won't be good
They won't be
answers.
useful for sure. My question is about Wildcat cartridges and your overall opinions on Wildcats. All right. I am looking to build another rifle. Another rifle. Who would have thought?
That's the spirit.
And I have a lot of interest in the 7 Sherman short mag. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
No. Okay.
I guess they're called wildcats for a reason because
They're not, 'cause they're common.
they're not
Yeah.
common. Yeah.
I am drawn to the Sherman short due to the ability to run it in a true short action and still use a heavy projectile.
Okay.
Okay. The question I have for y'all is, in your opinion, is the process of reloading for Wildcat cartridges worth the results they can deliver, or would you stick with cartridges that are more readily available? I'm an avid reloader and reload all of my ammo. I also enjoy the process of reloading, but if the cons outweigh the pros, then I'm open to suggestions on a good big game elk cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
My current gun collection consists of Savage Model 12 204 Ruger and a 223 AR for coyotes, a custom 6mm Creedmoor for PRS style shooting with a Defiance action purchased from the original Greg.
Very nice.
Obviously thinks he owns Defiance. Well, we think he owns something. Savage 10 in 308 for cost-effective practice. Okay. What do you think? Have you played with Wildcats much? Have you?
No, I haven't played with wildcats at all, really.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for the style of shooting we're doing, or I'm doing, I got 223, 270, 6mm Creed, and did have a 6.5 Creed. So for myself, I'm sticking to the more common things because I know I can get parts and components and, reloading dies and bits and pieces just, almost anywhere. It would be a cool sort of process to, I guess, make something new or different out of, a parent case. As in, you're trimming it down, fire foreman trimming it down, you're changing stuff, and then you're almost like it's something you can work on. I just think if it's for a hunting situation, if you're going to invest all that time and money into brass, it'd be a real shame to lose it. Yeah.
This is true. Look, I haven't delved much into wildcats, or wild cuts either.
No.
Pretty standard haircuts. No,
Yep.
I mean, I've had a mohawk for
You
a
have,
while. I
haven't
did
you?
have a mohawk, so maybe I have done some wild cuts. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Cats. Wilds.
Cats. Okay, wildcats. So when you're shooting wildcats, when you're wildcatting, back on track, Andy. Back on track. They're interesting.
Yes.
They're interesting. Usually, your fascination, your interest in that whole process has to outweigh the cons, the effort going.
That's it.
Because they are more effort, they are more challenging to get bits and pieces for. They're not so off the shelf and that sort of thing. So if you find that interesting and you like that process of doing something unique and something that's going to take a bit more, and maybe there's some troubleshooting to do with it and something left of field, as a general rule, and there'll be exceptions, but as a general rule, the benefits that you get from wildcatting something over another cartridge is not necessarily make or break.
Yep.
There's somewhere in the vicinity of 60,000 different cartridges, and that's very much a ballpark figure, but it's one that I've heard, and so it's probably not true, but we'll just run with it. There's a lot of cartridges.
There's a lot.
The point being, there's a lot of cartridges. And so it's probably been done before in some level of something. So someone's done something similar with a 1 degree different type, whatever it might be.
Yep.
That's not to say what with a Sherman, but just choosing anything. There's valid reasons to, but those reasons need to be more than, it's a slightly better or slightly different. I mean, people have been shooting for elk for years without problems.
Yes.
You can use a 30-06 or you can use there's other options for sure. But the interest with wildcats, certainly for me and for the people I know who do them far more than me, is that challenge, that interest in finding something very unique, unique to yourself. I had a 300. It was a Whisper. It was
yeah.
a Whisper, and this was before the blackout was known really. And I built a pump action 7615 converted to a 300 Whisper. And by the end of it, they were pretty commonplace. But certainly when I tried, I think a guy had started making a bracket for it, and we used to test the prototype bracket for that. And so it was early days. We're not breaking any records. You know, plenty of people had done it before us, but it was still in that very much a wildcat sort of phase. And so it was it was interesting. You spend a lot more money doing it, and you don't necessarily get that better results. But that's not why you do it. You do it because it's unique and different.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you're someone who really likes that sort of scientific engineering sort of, problem solving sort of, hey, I wonder what I can do with this, and sort of push its limits and find out its capabilities, then sure, go for it. But on the flip side, you got to be prepared to spend that money and that time and effort.
And it may not be money; it may be time, depending on the cartridge you choose and stuff. So going through the guns that that Dustin has, you've got your 204, your Coyote gun, and you've got your varminting gun, and you've got your PRS gun, and you've got a 308 just for some fun. So great. Like if you're going to add on to there's not like a big gap in your collection there that you got to fulfill. So you've got an opportunity to go and wildcat and do something unusual. Where I see guys go, perhaps come unstuck with the concept and the idea is maybe they're like, oh, I'm going to get a varminting gun, right? And I've got an opportunity to go varminting, and I want to build something really left of field or whatever it is. And then they spend all their time fixing problems and just sort of, and it actually gets in the way of them going out and shooting.
There's always something wrong with the rifle or the ammo, and
correct. And so that's where, Dustin, you might be an advantage because you've sort of got your bases covered. You could probably make one of those guns go and work for most things. You talk about the elk there, so perhaps maybe if you had another gun to shoot the elk with as a backup, I'm not sure in laws or whatever over there in terms of whether that 308 would be effective. It's pretty small for an elk. Usually would go something bigger, but I'm certainly not an elk hunter and do not take any elk hunting advice from myself. So there will be people who know that much better. But you perhaps have an opportunity there. And of course, if you are going elk hunting, you're probably not running 30 rounds through or 50 rounds through. You're running a couple. And so, and if you've got time, so I'm guessing you're from Utah. All right. I'm currently stationed in the UK. Anyway, wherever you are, chances are it's elk. There's a season, so you've got sort of time to work up to an end goal. So you've got time to do that. So it can be a fascinating process. I don't think that if you put it down financially and you put it down to time, that the pros don't necessarily outweigh the cons. But if you enjoy those things, then you can't outweigh them. They're fascinating. And I would encourage anyone to go and try it and do one. And you might never do a wildcat again because you're like, it was interesting. It was fun. Like this is where I guess I'm from. Interesting. It was fun. I learned a bit. But I'm good now. I just want to shoot my guns.
Yeah, for sure. Like I find that there's just in my 6mm Creedmoor or whatever, standard sort of cartridge, there's enough variance in that.
You're not very good. That's why.
Well, no, I mean, there's enough variance in like different powders, different projectiles, different primers, different neck thicknesses, tension. There's enough in all of that, let alone, hey, let's just fireform something and start from scratch.
Yeah, for sure.
But he touched on like running a heavier pill in a shorter action. That would, I assume, be his main cause. He wants a short action with a heavy.
Well, it's an interesting one to be able to run a short action. Yeah, for sure.
Well, what sort of like if you're going elk hunting, what would a short action give you over a long action? If that's one of the reasons to do it.
There probably wouldn't be any significant benefit. We'd have to ask Dustin a bit further on that one, but I guess in those parameters, it's not necessarily that beneficial. I mean, I can think of some very loose arguments for it, but not good ones as far as I'm concerned.
Faster bolt throw, maybe.
That's right. I wish smaller ammo to carry around, but these are not significant reasons. But perhaps it could be as simple as he has a short action already.
Oh, yeah.
And wants to utilize that.
Yep.
That
fair enough.
Makes sense. You don't want to buy another action. Cool. Make the bolt face bigger for a Magnum or whatever you want to do. You can do that. Yeah. So
seems legit.
Interesting question. Thank you, Dustin. Tonight is
we may have confused that quite a lot. But
What was he talking about?
I don't know.
He was shooting cats with an elk, I think. Yeah.
That's it.
G'day, guys. This is from Tyler. I'm currently in the market for a rimfire rifle, mostly for hunting, but would like to do some shooting at the local range as well. I'm tossing up between 22 LR and a 17 HMR, and I just can't settle a decision on one, and I'm wondering if you have any information that could help me with my decision, or what would you rather and why? Cheers and love the TikToks.
Oh, well, that's good.
There we go.
Watches
We'll help him
lots
out
of-
because he likes the TikToks.
That's
yeah.
it. It's all about the
It's
TikToks.
the only thing we do well. Even then, it's questionable.
Yeah.
Right. What's your thoughts on TikTok? I mean, 22 or 17 HMR. Same.
Yeah, I've shot both. I find this 17 HMR like is a very good, capable little round and great for like rabbits and the fox if it's up close, or wild cat sort of thing.
Yep.
If you're going to try and push it out, the wind will blow it around, definitely. But I feel as if I'm always going to get drawn to the 22.
Okay. Interesting.
There's just like it will still do enough damage to like put down or dispose of whatever you want to. But just the vast array of ammunition available and rifles available for it.
True.
I just find that, yeah, like why wouldn't you? If that makes sense. And the cost of the ammo too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would always lean towards the 22.
Interesting. Because I was unsure
Okay.
when Tyler asked me this, and so I asked him a question back
Oh,
for
okay.
more information. So
Yeah.
I've
Oh, here we go.
yeah, I poisoned the well here. I've let you answer and then got further information to add. So
Right.
let me ask you this.
He's already
and
got 15 22s.
yeah, and let me see whether you change your answer or stay with it. Could
Okay.
be either.
All right.
Hi Tyler, what type of hunting will you be doing? Mostly rabbits and foxes at about 100 meters or just a bit further.
Okay. 100 meters or a bit further.
Yep.
Mm.
And that's the top of hunting.
That's
doing most of the time.
Yeah. So they would have to start looking at the ballistic performance of
Yeah.
the projectile and or ammunition.
Mhm.
Yes.
Does that make you rethink your answer? More
Makes me
info?
want to like delve deeper into, okay, if you're going to use, your high velocity
Mhm.
17 HMR ammo and you compare that to 22 high velocity hollow points,
Yep.
what's going to be more beneficial? Definitely.
All right. Well, I'll play my cards. I've
Go
owned
nuts.
both and shot a lot with both, and particularly hunted a lot with both.
Mhm.
I then, with that information, I recommended the HMR
Mhm.
because I have pretty comfortably used it out on foxes to 150.
Yep.
All right, not much further, but about 150 was about
Mhm.
the end. I tried to keep it maybe 130 or so, but
Yep.
the 22 really lacks the guts at those
At that,
distances. I have shot rabbits just beyond 100 meters, but I wouldn't. It can be done, but it's perhaps not as reliable.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure someone's done it, and someone's done it at 300 meters, and it's great. There's always a couple of people, and then they're going to be good shooters to do it. But if that is your main purpose of use, you're often seeing stuff at 100. So I bought a 17 HMR because we were shooting on vineyards, and the vineyards were about 250, 300 meters deep.
Yep.
And the 22 would just not get, if there was a rabbit or a fox or something,
Yep.
anywhere in that sort of middle third,
Mm.
it was just challenging
Bit
to
too
get
far.
to. Correct. And so with the HMR, you could sort of shoot from one way or shoot from the other way,
Yep.
and you could get it.
Yeah, nice.
Not both at the same time. Just clarify that. But it sort of gave you options
Yep.
with that. I certainly think that's good. And it sounds like for this gentleman that he's hunting more than the range.
Yes.
Now, if it was the other way around,
Yep.
you're probably about to
The
go
cost of
where I was
ammo
going
would
to.
be.
Cost of ammo, but also there's more 22 comps. So you can shoot more 22 comps than you can use a HMR in, depending
Yes.
on the competition. PRS sort of, obviously that's what we're bent towards. So you can't generally use a 7 HMR in PRS. You might be allowed to for some matches at low key level, but they won't let you shoot some targets or whatever it might be.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be my pick, is the HMR in that scenario. Probably makes more sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think if you're definitely stretching it out those distances.
Yep.
I presume at those distances, what would be affected more, the HMR or the 22 with wind?
Wind is certainly going to play a role with both, but your HMR's probably got a bit more distance because it's screaming out quicker.
It is, isn't it?
Right. And so it doesn't have that dropping. The 22 is coming out quick, but it's got the weight that it brings it down. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
But yeah, I certainly think, and I'm sure that someone's using stingers and pushing them out fairway and all that sort of gear. But that's been my experience
Yeah,
so far.
no, definitely.
Yeah, I think I think that is all the questions we had right at the moment. Although you were willing to answer any questions,
Yeah.
so let me see if I can find a question for
They
you.
might
to
not be
answer.
good answers, but
They might not be good questions.
you know, that's up to you.
I actually have a question.
Remy's got a question. What's going on, mate?
It's kind of shooting related,
Okay,
but not like
Kind of.
That will be
no,
beneficial.
it is, but like it won't be in depth. But
Okay.
have there been any like movie scenes that have involved shooting
Mm.
and you've picked up and it's been like inaccurate?
All of them.
All of them?
Dude,
All of them?
All of them.
dude.
What one springs to mind for you, Andy? Because I know the first one that I think of.
Geez,
All right, well, I'll go first. American Sniper.
I was thinking that one.
As he winds the magnification ring, it clicks like a turret every time. It just gets.
I've
me
seen that a
every
few
time.
times.
Yep.
Yes, actually,
And-
I saw that in a TV series I'm currently watching.
Oh, yeah?
and I was like, was that
That's-
just like audio that was put in over the top? 'Cause that wasn't right.
It was. And then in the Netflix series Shooter,
Yes,
pretty sure he's shooting a 338 and there's no recoil at all. None. Not even like not like, oh nah, there's no recoil, mate. I've got a big strong shoulder.
Yeah.
Can't even feel it.
Yeah.
Literally no recoil.
yeah. No, that's you can definitely pick that where they're using just like just ammo with your like flash, just a bit of powder
No,
and
it's
stuff.
all just after effects.
And they're just
mate.
like,
What about you, mate?
I can't remember what movie it was in.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something ridiculous. Like they were looking through the optics and they were showing what the shooter can see through the scope, and it was just some full on absolute ridiculous reticle that had like some sort of tracing thing.
Oh yeah.
And I was
But you
like,
haven't got one of those. That explains how you shoot.
and I was just like, nah, that looks a bit over the top for the type of optic that was sitting on top. You know, it just looks like a real cheap, simple optic. And then they showed this reticle that's like, you know, full on electric, like, I don't know. It was just a bit nuts. I was like, wow, that's overkill.
I'm trying to think what it's from, but there is a movie. No, I think it's a Netflix series, and someone's got a scope on backwards. I mean, actually, it's pretty common to be fair, and they've got
Fantastic.
mounted scopes on backwards. It's just fantastic. Yeah, no, I don't actually. I've just Googled it, and there does seem to be quite a few. It seems to be a more common occurrence than it should be.
Well, that's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
That is certainly concerning. Certainly concerning, but anyway, that's right. We should put a scope on backwards and shoot with it and see what happens.
I'll give that a go. Yeah.
All right,
Next challenge video.
next PRS match, Andy.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Might work even better.
Perfect. I'm sure it might help you. It might help you.
It'll make my groups look smaller, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There
it
you go.
will. There you go.
Spot on.
Except we don't shoot groups in PRS.
Oh, come on.
Go shoot F class and be like, my groups are tiny. Yeah. Absolutely tiny. Oh, very good. So we are however many weeks we said we are from the PRS match.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know, I'm getting serious now. What are you doing to prepare in the lead up to it?
Deep priming rust.
Okay. Thanks for your useful content.
I suppose I should clean my rifle, but I don't know. That's sometimes
Yeah.
some people do, some people don't before a match.
Do a
Because
bet on it.
I won't clean it.
No, we won't. No chance. But is there some things that you would do between now and the match? A few weeks out. You've shot your last match prior. Are you going to get a chance to shoot before the Friday of the PRS, or is that going to be your next time to
Yes,
shoot?
I think it's the 19th.
The 19th. You got a club practice session or something?
No, I've just gone up there for a plank.
That's what I meant. Practice session.
Yeah, practice session.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Plank.
Same.
We'll call it a practice session.
Yeah.
I'll be at 100 meters just
Is this
checking.
where you're like, check with me the week after, I'll tell you whether it was a practice session or not?
That's it.
Okay.
Be more of like walking around, spinning a yarn, going, hey, how you going?
Good. So what, will you be focused on that, like that session? Like what do you hope to achieve? Or do you just go up and just relax and send lead round range and just be like, yeah, whatever?
Well, I know at the moment and the last club match, I tried to use my turrets as much as possible.
Okay.
Because I felt like
Is that where you went wrong? You started dialing windage instead of elevation?
Oh, wait, which one's windage?
I had my scope mounted backwards. That explains everything.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
We had like just I tried to use my turrets more often because I found at previous matches I'm not really familiar with using my reticle. Sometimes I would go to hold 0.6.
So you found your weakness and you practiced the opposite thing.
Yeah. And I still shot poorly.
Hey, Remy, when you get into shooting, don't listen to this guy.
I was going to get all my advice from you, Andy. Wisdom.
There's that do you dial, do you hold sort of philosophy, and some people find it quicker to dial and then you're just holding center, you hold on, or do you spend the time?
I would say they wouldn't find it quicker to dial. They would find it more convenient to dial.
Yeah, that's it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's one way or the other. And like I find it like I'd like to improve on using my reticle.
Yeah, but you keep practicing with your turrets.
That's it. Hence why I didn't do it. So I might do a little bit of dry fire and just sort of run through some mock stages and go right 0.4 hold, 0.6 hold, 1.1.
Can you do that? Can you consciously go and practice your holding and report back to us in a couple of weeks on how that went for you?
I'll try.
Yeah, that would be good because I mean that's one of the key things would be good to talk about is actually like, hey, here's a weakness. So here's what I did to improve on it. Now, it doesn't mean you're super successful with it or anything like that, but at least you can identify it and track it down and go, right, what can I do to do that?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think that's good doing the I think a drill that you could do for that would be really good is to be you've got your targets at 200, 300, 385 and 500, being able to go like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
4, 5, and then work your way back down and just repeating that process, holding for each one.
Yep.
Would be really simple. Whether you dry fire it and then live shoot it for a few rounds, and then I know rounds are pretty precious at the moment, so being able to do both, getting those drills, or if we have what's called a troop line, like a number of targets stacked up, and being able to sort of go through that process,
definitely
quickly, would be useful. To do it.
I think the other bit that played for me was with my reticle. In terms of holds for windage, I've got 0.5 holds on my reticle.
Okay.
But sometimes if I needed like a 0.7 hold, say if I was holding over, let's say a 1.6, and then I needed a 0.7 hold, I found my target was sort of floating out in the middle of nowhere a bit.
Okay.
So I just need to get used to that side of things because I came from a Horus 59 reticle where it was the full grid, and if I needed a 1.6 hold with a 0.7 wind, I was
you had several dots. I
had a lot of dots to hold on, but it's more that getting used to, okay, I need to float this target somewhere about here in the reticle.
Okay.
But, I'll give that a crack.
So Andy, I had another idea for your training on your holding of reticle.
Yeah.
And then I completely forgot because you went on a tangent, and I don't know, it was really good.
That happens.
It was really good, but here's what we'd love to do. Let's outsource the concept. Andy needs to get better at holding for his reticle. So if you are watching, listening, we would love to hear what you've done to get better at holding using the reticle, and send through any drill ideas, any ideas that Andy can put into practice on the 19th of March.
Yeah.
If you're at the range at Monado on the 19th of March, walk past Andy and be like, how's that holding going?
Yeah.
And
what are you holding?
Yeah, what are you holding? Not
how are you holding?
More of a Ford man myself, but whatever. No, neither actually. And so give him a hard time about it. But we'd love to hear your ideas, and we'll share them on the podcast and see how they went for you.
Yep.
I've just volunteered you to try some ideas from people, but it's because I couldn't think of my amazing idea. But it was really good.
Yep.
It would have solved all your problems. You probably would have won.
Damn it. I'll pay you for it.
I'd pay for me for it as well, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh,
Shame. Remy, you had another question you said. Let's
this is coming from a non-shooter. So
okay.
Right. What is the furthest distance you guys have shot?
Successfully or unsuccessfully?
Let's go both. Let's go successfully.
Successfully. Andy?
This was the box to 1,000, but it was 1,060 something, wasn't it?
I think you're right, 1,080 or so.
There you go.
I recall you coming last in that challenge too.
No,
second. He came second.
Second.
Last in the first bit.
Yeah, that's
caught up.
It, yeah.
Always from behind.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
I remember making that joke.
No, I'm thinking might be further on some private property once before, but it was about the 1,200.
Okay, about the 1,200.
Because I remember going, this is a long way. I haven't shot this far before.
Fair enough.
And then I think it was a struggle to see the misses with the 6.5 at that distance.
Got it.
So let's call it 2.5K.
Sounds all right. Well, I have shot just over 2,000.
Yep.
But as these stories always go, the further I get from actually having done it, the further I remember the distance. So if you ask me now, I think I shot 2,250.
Oh, it's only 50 metres further than me.
No, you said 2.5K, so I'm well short of you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 250 metres less.
Millimetres, centimetres, I always get them confused.
Incorrect measurements and correct measurements. And so, but so we set up a target just on 2,000 meters.
Yep.
And I believe we moved the target. Now, I have to go back and listen to a podcast from when we did it because I'm sure I said the number then.
Yeah.
So let's go 2,000.
Okay.
And I think it was a bit further, but let's go 2,000.
Yep.
Successfully on game was 13.05. And I know that.
Oh,
I know
wow.
13.25. And I know that because to curtail these rumors and your memory getting terrible and you thinking that you shot further than you ever did, we used to take with us on hunting trips Posca pens.
Oh,
Posca, in fact, I've still got them in the top drawer here.
Yep.
And you would shoot, and we had a little stencil with numbers. And so at the end of your trip, whatever your longest shot was, you would write that. If you set a new record, you would write that on the side of the gun.
Oh, nice.
Right. And it wasn't necessarily a flex or anything like that. I'm not particularly sure I've got photos of it or anything, but it's more the fact that it would stop you from making up a new number.
Yep.
And you'd be like, oh, how far was that? I think you remember it the wrong way. And you're like, 1,532, I think. And then you look at the side of the gun, you're like, oh, wait, no, it's 1,325. Okay, all right. So the idea was to sort of keep you honest at the point.
But that's pretty cool knowing like, hey, that gun there shot that.
Yeah, and then so you had the hard ever, and then all you do is you just use the same chassis for every gun, and then you were
Perfect.
fine.
Yeah. You just max out the stencil 999.
But it was an interesting way, and then it was nice when you'd go on a hunting trip, and if you wanted to try and push it a little bit further, and it was good. But I remember that number because because it was written there, and I took the time to write it on the gun.
Yeah, great.
But in terms of the target where I didn't write it down, I'm sure I talked about it in the podcast, but I know that it was not what I remember it to be. It was less. So I'll go 2,000.
All right.
And I'm sure it was long with that. Does that answer your shot? Your question?
Yeah,
Remy?
it does. Yeah.
And then how far have we missed?
Well, going back on the hunting, 669.
Ooh.
And I remember that number because I was like,
Of course you'd remember
69.
669. Who's forgotten it?
clearly.
No one's forgetting that. Any others, Remy?
All right.
Last one, because I'm running out of gin.
What?
What
Give me a second, I'll run out of gin.
is the sexiest? I don't know if you call it chassis. I'll call it a
Me.
body. No.
Him.
Rifle chassis
Hey,
or
what?
body or just
What?
rifle.
Oh.
That one.
Yeah, that one looks good.
That one looks good. Does
But
look
do you
good.
have one in mind?
Sorry, I pointed to the photo we've got next to her.
For the people who are
people who are watching. That one, but in rainbow, which is the one I have, which is I'm pointing at a KRG Whiskey 3. I like that. I like that chassis. The C4 is quite nice from KRG.
Yep.
Something about KRGs I do like. The new MDT Gen 2
That looks
ACC
looks
does
promising.
look good, but I do prefer the look of the KRG.
I think the rainbow gun's got it.
The rainbow gun's got it.
Yeah, the GT, the
Yep,
Tiger.
which is, it's an amazing paint job. I'll show that to someone.
One of a
the other day.
kind.
Yeah. You're not going to see that. Have you seen that, Remy? I'm sure you've seen.
I have seen it.
The rainbow one.
I have.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's unique. It's going to be very hard to top that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So shut that one down very quickly. We said last question, didn't we? Oh, let's sneak one more.
Can I have
through.
another one?
Apparently so. I guess you press stop
force
on the
it.
record. So.
The most powerful rifle you've shot or I don't know how it works. I don't know.
Yeah. So
think
this
you know
is
what I
an
mean.
interesting question you ask because when I was working in a gun shop, people would come in and they wanted to buy the most powerful gun I could.
Man.
And you're like, what? Why? Like, what are you doing with it? I just want the powerful one. You're like, and they just, I don't know the thought behind that. I guess they just wanted the biggest bang and to show off to their mates, and they
That's
got the
it.
most powerful one.
Yep.
But it's very guns are very nuanced, and so what could be really powerful in one essence isn't very a very powerful handgun.
Yep.
Will probably hurt your hand to shoot it. So it hurt my hand to shoot it. Let's say that some people will be able to handle it. Whereas the rifle will be way more powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
But much more comfortable to shoot.
That's it.
50 BMG is the obviously one that comes to mind, which I have shot. Any of you shot one of those?
No, just I think it's the
308.
300 win. I think's the biggest
really?
one that I've shot. Oh no, sorry, was it 338 down at Kai Kai once?
Oh, you shot mine 338?
Oh, I think it was other Andrew.
Okay,
Yeah,
someone else, and previous podcast. Andrew.
long time ago.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, there's lots of calibers, and there's 700 nitros and all this sort of gear, and it would be more of a scientific discussion to work out which one was most powerful, depending on what your qualifications are for powerful.
Yeah,
But
I guess it's like, do you want most powerful downrange, most velocity? Do you want the loudest rifle, or do you just want the heaviest? Bad man looking, big, big,
So
big massive rifle.
As a non-shooter, again,
Leave.
all right, so the Barrett 50 cal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So is that 50
in my
BMG?
head, that's
Yeah.
like one of the most. Is it steel? This was quite a few years ago when
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not. It is not. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah.
This is where we'd start getting to murky territory with what would be most powerful. The 50 cal. 50 BMG is certainly a type of gun that could, because the cartridge is a 50 BMG that they shoot, that could probably be one of the longer ranging sort of options there. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest bump into your shoulder, there's other contenders, other options in that mix. You may have seen the videos. I think somewhere over in the Middle East where the guys go into that room and they shoot I think it's a 5.77 Tyrannosaurus, and they all just fall over except one dude who handles it really well. Some dudes go through the window and all that sort of stuff.
550 Nitro Express or something like that.
There's all sorts. Yeah, there's all sorts. And then there's I think JDJ did a 900 cal.
Jeez.
There is many options. So we'll talk about the ones we've shot. I've shot a 50. I have been offered to shoot a 50 since, and I was quite happy just to let it go. It doesn't hold a lot of interest for me.
Yep. One of those things, once you've done it.
It. Some dudes love it. Some dudes not into it.
The next step up is obviously artillery. So.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well,
if I got offered to pull the rope on that one, I'd definitely go for it.
We'll send you to.
And on that note, let's pull the rope and go.
All right.